It's the meat event. It's a rematch. And yo, real quick, shout out to our latest subs, Shut Out and Turbo Funk 559. Step on the turbo here. Let's get funky because if you're new here, we're Meat Boy MMA. He's Meat On Boy. We're bringing locks and laughs. So please do break that subscribe button.
But please don't broke bus.
It's Kamaru Usman taking on Jorge Gamebred Masvidal in a rematch, and just an absolute gift for Gamebred. I mean, he was called out on ESPN by Kamaru, even though Kamaru had already bodied him 50-45s across 5 rounds over in July on a last second replacement when Gilbert Burns popped for COVID. But Kamaru sort of was, disappointed almost with his, however dominant performance over Gamebred in that one. But he sort of felt as though Gamebred had a built-in excuse as to why he lost that fight so decisively, and it almost seemed like he treated that one as if the only reason why Masvidal accepted that fight was because of that built-in excuse. I do have a question for you though, Meaden. A little random, but for me, we were at that BMF belt fight, right? We were at MSG. We saw the BMF belt be anointed to Gamebred Masvidal. Why do you think this BMF belt is not on the line in this one? Do you think that Kamaru like hasn't been making a big or really any fuss over this BMF belt because he just doesn't respect it? Maybe thinks it's some fake JVBS, or why do you see Snoozman as being just totally indifferent towards that belt and not really aiming for additional hardware with another win over Masvidal?
Yeah, so I think Kamaru Usman, I think at a point he wanted it, but then he found out that it's basically a fake belt. You don't get more pay-per-views, you don't get more followers, you don't get anything. You get those by beating your opponent, not getting a Fugazi belt. I think it was a fun thing, and Dana White kind of made it clear when he made it. This is a one-time deal, never going to be again. But I wish it was real. I wish it was on the line. It would just make things more fun. But also, I could see the complications because then it's like, would you want to fight for the BMF belt or do you want to fight
Hmm.
for the real best in the world belt? And what's better, being a world champion or a BMF? So there's a lot of interpretations and up for, you know, what is better on the scale, fame, fortune, or honor, but I think he tried once. I think I saw an interview where he wanted it like the very first time they fought, but he knew he wasn't going to get it. And Masvidal, it's more like a relic and like a fossil that he found out in the woods more so than a real thing.
Sure, yeah. I guess I just find it fascinating that like Masvidal gets to continuously fight, and he does have a technically a belt in his possession, but doesn't have to put it on the line when he steps out there. I almost feel like if the BMF belt was a part of this conversation, it'd be a great way for this conversation to go away because I'm picking Usman in this fight, and if Dana truly wants the BMF to be sort of a one-off, uh, maybe Kamaru could just take it, and then I don't really see. Anyone else taking the BMF belt or the championship belt off Usman anytime soon. I mean, we've heard some rumblings that Colby's going to get the winner of this matchup, and if and when Colby and Kamaru run this one back, that's an absolute barn burner. And Colby does possess the tools to potentially get it done. Given how close that first fight was, but Usman just seems sort of on a different level. So we look over at Tapology. 87% is going with Kamaru Usman. Majority think it's going to be by decision, overwhelming foot stomps like last time, perhaps. How do you see this one going down? Are you picking Kamaru Usman or are you going with Gamebred for the upset?
Yeah, I'm going with Kamaru Usman, and I think people they're always sleeping on his stand up. I mean, people always bring out the foot stomps, which like he does do those stomps well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does do those this fight. But like shown last, he put out Gilbert Burns, which Gilbert Burns has been just ripping heads off with his hands, and Kamaru Usman just showed, yo, I can do more than just grapple and stomp and dance on tippy toes on people. I think Kamaru Usman has been crisping up his boxing and his kickboxing, and honestly, I see a standing KO or TKO happening with a possible ground and pound finish. Yeah, I see George getting dropped, though. I truly think Kamaru is trying to make a statement and say that I am the BMF. I don't need that belt. I'm going to show the world. But it is interesting with that belt that he's allowed to wear it around and flex with it, but then it's not on the line, like you said. Super interesting on that. But yeah, I think Kamaru's going to get it done TKO fourth round.
Rodrigo, damn, that's a hot take because the only TKO loss for Jorge Masvidal was back in 2008 by the boy Rodrigo, damn. So very interested to see if Kamaru was able to put him out just like he put out Gilbert Burns. That stiff, just heavy jab was just absolutely brutal. And maybe, he comes in, he's clearly trying to make a statement in this fight. And perhaps that statement does end up being a KO, like you mentioned. I might be a little surprised by that just because historically Masvidal's not a dude who gets put out easily, right? If you're going to beat Masvidal, it's usually by decision, usually a split decision, and he has succumbed to some submission losses in the past. But I don't anticipate Usman winning by submission. But a TKO KO would be some fascinating stuff for sure. Ultimately, I'm probably going to go Usman. I think Masvidal might win a round. I really do. But I'm seeing 49-46 is probably across the board. Maybe Masvidal wins the second or third round and has a couple moments that keep it interesting. But ultimately, Usman is just too well rounded. He's got everything. And I see Trevor Whitman coaching his Nigerian Nightmare to another successful title defense. So, any last thoughts on this meat event? I can't wait for this one. Can't wait for all these fights, to be honest.
Yeah, this whole card is absolute meat bangers. Um, no, I mean, you guys check out our other videos if you haven't seen them. We break down, some of the most exciting fights that we're pumped for, and check out the meat lock. See the juicy meat value there, and make sure to smash subscribe and throw a comment. Who you guys got? You got Street Judas, or do you have the Nightmare Kamaru Usman with the boys? But yeah, we respond to all comments, and check out our other videos. Yo.